Hey everyone, I'm here today to showcase my Smith of Kitava build in Path of Exile 2. As of this recording, I'm sitting at rank 69 on the leaderboard, and this build is really great at clearing both maps as well as killing bosses really quickly. It's really fast, durable, and I think this build is one of the top contenders for, I would say, a meta build at the moment, especially for a really rough league start. So the core part of this build is using Leap Slam to jump around the map as well as killing enemies. Then when we get to a boss, we can use Hammer the Gods once if we've been able to farm enough mobs before getting to the boss, and then using Rolling Slam to build up the break bar into another Hammer of the Gods. With that, I want to go over my character sheet. I am currently sitting at about 3,800 health. This is a lot lower than where I want to be, and I definitely feel the lack of durability in terms of just total amount of health. But a lot of the durability actually comes from, if you notice here, that I have 90% all resistance. This helps reduce a lot of elemental damage, and I also have my Chaos Res capped at 75. My armor here is at 44%, since I'm not building too much armor, but my shield does have a 7% physical damage reduction, which definitely helps. My block is sitting at 63%, which is also lower than where I want it to be, but with the removal of a lot of jewels from the passive tree, it's really hard to hit really high block chance unless you have a really high increased block chance roll on your shield. Another key stat I like you to look at is the total recovery per second, life recovery per second. 347 is a lot of health regen and is absolutely critical for both survivability as well as being able to afford the health costs of Leap Slam as well as Rolling Slam. Leap Slam actually costs a whopping 400 health per use with all of the added skill levels, and without this health regen, it's really noticeable that you actually hurt yourself when you're using your own skills. Next, I want to move over to my gear, and I think I'll be starting with the weapon as it is the core component that kind of holds all of the gear together. So here, the key lines you want to look for are extremely high physical damage as well as additional levels to all melee skills. This melee skill line is very important as it really dramatically increases the damage compared to just having a lot of physical damage. Another line that you want to look out for is reduced attribute requirements. Because this is not Titan, it's a lot harder to get a lot of strength in order to wield all of these maces. I'm currently sitting at 436 strength, but without this attribute reduction, this would probably be around 600 strength required. Other lines are just kind of nice to have. You can get attack speed, you can get increased stun buildup, you can get life on kill. All of those are alright, but these three lines, melee skills, physical damage, as well as reduced attributes, are the core. Anything else is kind of a cherry on top. For my build specifically though, fire damage isn't too bad. Physical damage I think is still king, but fire damage won't get converted, but all of it is amplified at the end, so having fire damage is not a bad line. Moving on, the shield is also very important in this build. I think you definitely want physical damage reduction here. Strength and life are core lines. You do want to get Chaos Res somewhere on your gear, and I just chose to have that on my shield, but realistically, if you're able to hit that anywhere else, that's also fine. You can also get maximum fire resistance and just fire resistance in general on your shield, and those are all very good lines. For the helmet and your gloves and your boots, and honestly all your other pieces, what you're really looking for is strength, fire resistance, and life. Rarity is a nice bonus, and attack speed is okay on the gloves, but I don't have those and it works perfectly fine. You do want a little bit of fire damage, increased fire damage on your rings, as that will significantly increase your damage, but it's not necessary as most of your damage relies on your weapon anyways. For your amulet, this is another important place where you do want plus level to all melee skills. I believe it can go up to 3. I'm currently running one with 2, as the 3 ones don't look very good in my opinion, to the point where I would want to buy them. So I'm currently running just a +2, but I would like to upgrade this one as soon as possible. For the belt, I'm running a unique Inferno class plate belt. Normally this doesn't have enough stats, I think, to justify using it on any other build, but here this +5 maximum fire resistance gets converted to cold as well as lightning maximum resistance, giving a ton of value to that line. Plus the 45% fire resistance is another 45% fire resistance that probably is going over the cap. So you can really think about this line as giving you 6% fire maximum all res, as well as giving you 45% fire resist. And if you're not significantly above, if you're not around 180, I believe it's 150 fire resist, then you're not capping on your cold and lightning. Actually, you probably need a little bit more due to the negative ones. I don't know the exact number, but you definitely need probably about 180 fire resistance in order to cap your other 2 reses, and this will start adding toward that. And having strength and armor aren't bad. I think the one line missing on this belt is just raw health. Having health on this would make this so much better if it was in armor. So that's the one downside, but I think this is too good for me to pass up at the moment, just in order to hit those 90% all res breakpoints. For your boots, you want 30-35% of movement speed at this point in the league, and same thing with all the other ones: life, strength, fire resistance. Stun threshold actually isn't too bad because of how heavy our stun threshold was nerfed due to it being half of life now. So stun threshold's technically double value, so it's not too bad. So for the skill tree, starting with the Ascendancy, I'm taking Coal Stoker as well as Forge and Flame. These are really critical to getting 90 all res, where Forge and Flame is going to give you maximum cold and lightning res whenever you get fire resistance, and I'll be showing you places where I'm getting maximum fire resistances on the tree and in my items. But these two are very important, and the nodes that you want to take for your body armor when you do hit late game is maximum life, strength increase, as well as taking 25% of your physical damage as fire, and 5% maximum life regeneration. When first starting out, you can definitely take the fire resistance here, and then you would take the Coal Stoker here, which would help you get 75% resistances. And then once you're able to get a good amount of fire resistance from your gear, then you can start taking this point off and then moving it towards the other points here. So for maximum fire resistance, you're going to want to get a jewel that gives you +1 here. I believe I have 2 of them here for maximum fire resist. And you also want to take these the point trees here for Prism Guard as well as the maximum fire resistance. You don't need to take these, since getting fire resistance will get you the others. If you're able to get fire resistances in other methods, you can take these points off and save 3 points right here on the tree. Additionally, you do want to take the points here, which this one gives you maximum lightning res, fire res, and cold res, but most importantly, unnatural resilience is going to allow you to get additional fire resistance for every 40 uncapped fire resistance. So you can see here that I am at 195. This is going to be an additional 80 on top of the 90 that will be able to be applied. If I had a 120 above 90, then I would get an additional point. So this is giving me 2 fire resistance, but it also does give you 5% all elemental res, which isn't too bad as well. Other notable points on the tree are all of the fire based nodes. So you want to take Avatar of Fire. This is core to the build, but everything else is just going to be increasing your fire damage. So the points over here, as well as the points here. And you can also think about taking Immolation here, but I opted to save these points for now, just to take other points elsewhere. So I'm currently taking some additional block chance here. If your shield has higher block chance and you can get close to 75, then you can probably think about taking these off. I'm kind of debating on whether or not to keep these or just go for more damage, but in terms of survivability, these are okay. They're not the best use of the points. You may notice that I also have fully filled in this tree here because magnitude of ignite is really good, and you definitely still want the 5% fire penetration here, so it's really hard to give up either of these, so I just opted to take the entire flame node. Down here, you want to take this other flame node for one defense penetration, as well as increasing the burning duration, and you also want this, which increases your damage while they're ignited when you're hitting them with other skills, but also increases your chance to ignite, so helps when you leap slam into enemies to ignite them on the way out. Other notable ones that are very core, I would say, is Unbending. This is just a free tank node. Definitely take that, as well as Titanic. There's kind of no-brainer. You kind of pass both ways here anyways. Resolute Technique is necessary since we're not critting and we don't want to build accuracy at all, so this is another no-brainer. Taking Brute Strength for additional strength and blood magic are really good combos. That way you don't have to deal with the mana penalty at all for Brute Strength, and you get a lot of strength. And all this strength is going to lead up to being able to use Giant's Blood, so you can use a two-handed weapon as well as a shield. So this is pretty core to, I think, most warrior gameplay. You really need Giant's Blood, and you need to be able to equip both a two-handed mace as well as a shield. Other ones are pretty much quality of life. You take as much block as you need here and here. The fire damage here is also very nice. I like Blood Rush, not acceleration, but having additional skill speed is noticeable. It's really quality of life. Increases just your mobility a little bit as well, so I really appreciate these nodes. And the ones over here just give you a lot of damage. I would recommend taking these even though they feel a little bit bad because they reduce your attack speed, but the amount of damage increase you get is pretty significant, so it's pretty worth the trade-off. And over here, I do like these points here. This close range damage buff is really nice, so it's important that when your Hammer of the God lands, you do want to be close to the enemy. So you don't want to walk away from the boss before it lands, as you need to be close range. And then having this one is really nice, as it just is another application for your AoE when you're killing mobs and jumping around through the map. This branch here is also pretty much doing the same thing, just a little bit of damage, a little bit of AoE. Skippable, but I would recommend it for now. Unfortunately, the points are a little bit low in terms of damage. You're taking 3 points for just 30% melee damage, and then the ones here is pretty great, but at the same time, I believe this damage happens after they've been immobilized, so while they're heavy stunned, your Hammer of the Gods is going to land, and that's going to be where a lot of your damage is, so these are really nice, and this one as well. So this is going to amplify your Hammer of the Gods damage quite a bit as long as you land it while they're still stunned. Briefly going over the Atlas skills I've definitely greeded quite a bit for the early Atlas skills, not going for any of the new League mechanics, I guess, that came out. So I'm not going into Esmiri Wisps, or I guess they're spirits, Wisps, or any of the new strong boxes or the Rogue Exiles. Purely just going for consistent increased mobs, rares, as well as increasing their pack size just so I have more monsters to kill, and then going for rarity just for better loot, and then a little bit of Waystone drops here. For the pinnacle content, I haven't got very far in any of them. I think I have 6 points in Expedition, but Breach doesn't look very viable right now. I'm not getting a lot of splinters even when I do the breaches, so it hasn't been satisfying to do, as each breach maybe only gives me 10 splinters, and I'm not going to do 20 breaches to try to get a boss point right now. And then Delirium, I don't like the delirium visual effect on the screen, so that's just kind of like my preference. And also, I don't think this build would be very good at doing simulacrum. A ritual is really good. I would advise doing this. I just haven't found more audiences with the king, but I would take this he approaches, and then I would probably just take promised devotion as well as tempting offers once I do have those points, similar to last league. For map bosses, I just got these points, so I will probably just try the new thing, get the wisps. I don't really like doing strong boxes that much, so I'll leave it at that. But I do get quantity of items as well as quantity of waystones here. I guess this one's forced. And then I think the last, I should do one more here, and then the last one will be for doing the Arbiter, which I have not gotten to since it's only day 4. Well, if you made it to the end, thanks for watching through the video. Please like and subscribe if this video has been informative or helpful, and let me know if you have any additional questions in the comments below. I'll be leaving the rest of the clip of me clearing this tier 16 plus 2 level map for, I guess, reference if you'd like to see anything specific about it.
Come here!
Thanks for watching.
Can't yet. Come here! Meat creature! I can't yet. I need more time. I need more time. I've nowhere to keep that.